Hello and welcome everyone. I'm Curtis Robbins. I'm an account executive with POSIM Software. Today I'll be discussing what I consider the top 5 ways you can continue running a successful business in the current liquor market. First, let's take a look at where the market stands today. Over the past 5 years, the United States beer, wine, and liquor industry has shown promise with an average growth of 2.2% and a current market size of $62 billion. There are over 45,000 liquor stores in the U.S. alone, which illustrates the increased competition that I'm sure you've all noticed. The good news is that regulation in the market seems to be on a downward trend, and that could lead up to more opportunities. However, we all know that COVID has caused many businesses, just like yours, to struggle for the past year. While there was a rise in demand for alcoholic beverages, consumers tended to make their purchases at grocery stores where they were already shopping, and rather than increase their risk of exposure by going to another store. Some businesses weren't even able to stay open as local and state regulations came into effect. All of this had led to an industry to a point where growth opportunities are available, but it's only to those who can find ways to compete with new markets and survive the economic uncertainties. The legalization of cannabis is seen more every day across the U.S. Knowing more about why this is competing with your store on an individual level will put your business in a better position to strategize against it. As cannabis is gaining popularity and legality, alcohol distributors are racing to remain relevant with the addition of such a similar market. Many are investing in the research and development of cannabis-infused beverages, but some distributors are running into regulatory issues because CBD is considered a controlled substance at the federal level. Alcoholic beverages won't be approved with a formula that includes a controlled substance, but applications are being processed with formulas that include ingredient derived from hemp seeds and oils. For now, you're much more likely to see a cannabis-infused non-alcoholic drink on the shelves. One of the most common angles taken to position cannabis against the alcohol industry is health concerns. Cannabis is marketed as a healthier and more natural alternative to alcoholic beverages, and studies have shown that consumers somewhat agree with that messaging. When asked, 25% perceived alcohol as the more dangerous substance. That leaves retailers stuck trying to find ways to compete. This has only served to feed into the popularity of non-alcoholic beverages and seltzers as low-calorie options. The market for low alcohol and non-alcoholic products is expected to grow 32% by 2022 from 2018. Female consumers are often overlooked in the alcohol industry, which is a huge mistake according to market data. Recently, there has been a rise in the amount of female consumers, so the opportunity to reach them with targeted marketing is there. They are also reportedly less likely to switch from alcohol to cannabis, which could provide the boost in sales your business needs in the face of the new market. The thing to remember in these marketing efforts is the alignment between the perception of what's important to women and what the experience can provide. According to the experts, marketing efforts in the industry should project friendship, relaxation, and empowerment onto their products. That's why you may have noticed an influx in new alcohol products and the campaigns surrounding them that might appeal to women. Now, I know I've already thrown a lot of facts and figures at you guys, but let's take a deeper look at what all of this means and how you can use it to compete. First things first, CBD and cannabis are here to stay even if the market and rules and regulations around it aren't completely stable yet. If you're not already, I would suggest considering the offer of some CBD-infused non-alcoholic beverages for sale in your stores. You'll need to check your state laws for any additional licensing requirements, but in my opinion, it's worth it to see how your consumers react to these types of products. It's kind of a if you can't beat them, join them situation. Now, when it comes to new trends in health and wellness and how that affects your business, you have to do your best to alleviate health concerns of consumers in any way you can. For the liquor market right now, I suggest leaning into the low-calorie or non-alcoholic options. Sales might reflect this new trend, but there's one thing that history has shown. It's that the wine, liquor, and beer industry is resilient. In other words, the tradition of having a beer with friends as a way to relax and unwind isn't going anywhere. And last but not least, we discussed how females are sometimes overlooked in the industry, which obviously means there's probably room for sales growth in that area of your business as well. This should also serve as a reminder to keep an open mind when considering who your target market is. You might be surprised at which segments you've been missing opportunities in. It's always a good idea to gather market data about your current and potential customers. It can be as simple as giving your current customers the option to share their opinions and tastes through feedback or surveys. Your point of sale software needs to have the tools and capabilities to help you gain insight into your current customers as well. With POSIM, you can easily see what your best-selling items are and who your most loyal customers are. Having the option to track customer sales history, preferences, and even customer rewards is a huge advantage whether you're looking into underserved markets or your most common targets. Laws and regulations in the industry have been a challenge and always will be unless you streamline your compliance efficiency. There are, of course, the state laws that you're all familiar with, requiring retailers in the industry to acquire a liquor license, and the federal taxes you must pay to sell alcohol. These are sometimes a hassle due to the processes involved, but most of the regulatory issues retailers in the industry deal with more frequently are age verification compliance and interstate commerce laws. Having a point of sale software that automatically prompts your staff to verify the age of the customers for specified products can end up saving your business. Interstate commerce becomes an issue when selling online and shipping products directly to consumers. There are strict laws that vary by state, but we'll get into the breakdown of which states allow it and which don't next. The wine and spirits industry is one of the few industries that still has not been overtaken by the digital age. This can be attributed largely to the sale of alcohol online not being legal in all states. This is due to the interstate commerce laws prohibiting alcohol from being shipped directly to consumers, which I'll touch on a little bit later. Currently, 12 states allow shipping of alcohol. 31 allow just beer and wine, and only 7 allow none. Those kinds of numbers leave lots of room for opportunity to sell products online in states that allow it, even if it is just beer and wine in most of them. Take a look at our map here to see if your state is allowing alcohol to be shipped in response to the pandemic and its impact on the economy. Many states have been revisiting their strict laws on the shipment of alcohol to consumers to try to keep the economies going during tough times. The time is now to get your foot in the door with a new revenue stream that is probably here to stay. Your customers are now more accustomed to shopping online, whether it be for essential items or not. You're going to want to give them the option to buy your products online too. Look for opportunities to market to your customers online and be sure to weigh the long-term benefits against any of the short-term costs associated with setting up your online store. The additional sales in the future will be well worth the cost to set up your online store. Plus, it will keep you up with the competition from other new markets like cannabis. If you are ready to make the jump into selling online, or if you've already started an online store due to the circumstances of the last year, consider the benefits of having your e-commerce website integrated with your point of sale software. Of course, you'll need to check all your state laws and regulations regarding the sale of alcohol online, but if you decide to venture into e-commerce, I would suggest a POSIM and Shopify integration, so you can start selling online without the hassle. It's easy to design your site and separate it from the competition with Shopify's selection of customizable templates to choose from. Simply select, upload, and make changes to inventory items you want to sell online for a painless launch process. Plus, you'll likely notice pretty quickly how much time you save with an integration as your inventory is updated near real time, effectively cutting out the guesswork of maintaining and tracking inventory between your online store and your brick and mortar store. Another trend in the industry is online ordering, with delivery options like what you see with services like Grubhub and DoorDash. As shelter-in-place regulations were put into effect this past year, consumers turned to delivery services to keep getting the alcohol products they wanted. It's also apparent that consumers were taking more of a stocking up approach to their purchases by spending 25, even 50% more per purchase than they might have previously. If you do choose to open an online store, it will be important to get integrations with delivery services that specialize in the alcohol industry. like Drizzly, to make the addition a seamless transition and meet these new customer expectations. With vaccines being distributed, start planning for a market that looks more like the old normal. Each state has their own vaccine rollout plan and are still in phase one of their respective plans, which means prioritizing certain groups to get the vaccine. However, there have already been over 55 million doses distributed and over 33 million already administered. We're certainly not out of the woods yet, but experts are tentatively looking at every adult in the U.S. being fully vaccinated by the spring of 2022. They also say that it may not be necessary for the full population to be vaccinated before we start to see a return to normalcy. The U.S. could reach herd immunity by the end of this year. More vaccines and less regulations on gatherings provides plenty of opportunities to get the name of your store out into the community. Think music festivals, local sporting events, and other gatherings where you can create marketing campaigns. Handing out samples or other related items like a bottle opener or koozies with your logos on it during the events could be just a reminder your potential customers need to kickstart sales right now. Plus, you never know the word of mouth advertising something like that can generate. You could also choose to create your own event or to create a little more excitement around your business. People are just itching to get back out into the world and enjoy the things they used to. Consider hosting a wine and cheese tasting or a beer festival to encourage your customers to revisit your store. With POSIM, you can manage everything from payments to items you want to sell during events like that within your point of sale. You'll also have the ability to use the software and our integration with MailChimp to create and send any communication related to the event, as well as additional information or reminders attendees may need as the event approaches. With any of these opportunities to keep your business top of mind for consumers, don't forget to leverage your e-commerce site as well if you have one. Giving customers multiple buying options is always better than just one. Most retailers are familiar with the ebb and flow of sales throughout the year. The liquor industry is no different. How can you manage inventory levels on hand to alleviate cash flow problems during slower months? First, let's get a fuller picture of when those slower months tend to be so that you can plan accordingly. The highest revenues are usually around the holidays, New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve, the day before Thanksgiving, July 4th, and the lead up to Christmas, which is most of December. The beginning of the year is the slowest, and the revenues climb steadily until the largest spike of the year, which is July 4th. Then they hold steady until the holiday seasons, where it spikes around Thanksgiving and Christmas again. When looking at this data from 2017 to mid-2020, you can see those seasonalities year over year. What's interesting here is the increase in sales of each month across those years. So, for example, there were $4,673 million in retail sales in March of 2019, and it jumped to $5,521 million in March of 2020. That shows the growth in the industry and highlights the increase in sales opportunities, especially in the past year. Data shows that more people are buying alcohol in bulk, which is also reflected in the sales dollars. It'll be important to have cases available for sale moving forward. Surviving the slower months at the beginning of each year requires a smart inventory management plan that includes getting rid of any slow-moving or dead stock. Some ways to do this may be offering sales like buy one, get one, or bundling complementary items. You might also consider ramping up marketing efforts with special promotions. It may mean a lower profit margin, but in this case, it's worth it to increase your cash flow. If you don't have a point of sale software that offers detailed inventory management reports, I would consider making a change. In a market with such drastic seasonality, it's important to have as much visibility as possible to your inventory in order to keep your strategy fresh. With POSIM, you can manage SKUs with multiple UPC codes, case lots, and track alternate units like wine by the case, half case, and single bottle. You also have the option to set up auto order options by maximum stock, reorder points, or by sales history tied directly to your preferred vendors, including prompts for minimum order quantities. These tools can help you make data-driven decisions throughout the year, not just during the slower months. You also don't want to waste the increase in opportunities that consistently occur at the end of the year. Make sure you're using these promotions and sales to re-engage the new customers you brought in the previous year, and don't forget to create recurring touchpoints with your loyal customers. I recommend using the detailed sales history and customer preferences available in POSIM to make specific recommendations tailored to individual customers. You can even pair it with our MailChimp email marketing integration to get the most benefit out of our targeted marketing efforts. Encouraging Steady repeat business from your loyal customers is also much easier with POSIM's recurring billing feature. This allows you to create a wine or beer of the month club or set up scheduled class or events. This allows you to sell memberships and set up your regular shipments while the software automates the billing process for you. Well, that brings us to the end. I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to share solutions for some of the most challenging areas of selling within the retail market. I also want to thank you for coming on this adventure with me. I saw some questions coming in throughout the webinar, but also feel free to reach out to me using the email or phone number on this slide. We will be addressing all of those questions over the next 24 hours. I do work with many liquor stores within the industry, and the landscape is always changing. If you're interested in seeing a demo of POSIM point of sale and inventory management software and how we address those changes, do not hesitate to reach out. And have a great rest of your day.